Welcome to toy-polloi.
Welcome to toy-polloi. It is a Tuesday and it's the 30th of April. I'm here at Nakano Broadway in Tokyo to do a serious bit of toy hunting. This is probably my favourite place to do toy hunting. There's just so much stuff here and it's spread over 3 floors and it is just jam-packed with every toy shop you could imagine, every kind of toy that you can imagine. So really, all you've got to do is come here and spend a good few hours rummaging around and you will be bound to find something. So let's head on into the main sort of shopping floors and I'll see what I can find today. So that was a pretty good trip. I spent a good couple of hours wandering around inside Nakano Broadway, and I bought quite a few good bits and bobs. Mrs. Toy-polloi got a bit sort of bored halfway through, a bit tired, so I was headed back to the hotel. But I've carried on and purchased some nice pieces. So when I get back to the UK, I will review everything I've found and give you a rundown of what was good and what wasn't so good at Nakano Broadway. And here I am back in the UK. It's a few weeks later and I've had a chance to unpack and sort everything that I picked up at Nakano Broadway. And these are the bits I got there. I got some nice pieces that I wasn't expecting to find and a couple of little oddities. First up, I picked up the A and B Acroyer arms. Now these are armoids, I think they're called, or arm droids. I think armoids is the correct term for them. In the UK they released the giant Acroyer figure as one sort of big set, but in Japan they released each part as a different sort of figure to collect in a different box, and I picked up the two arms here. Let's just open one of them so you can see what I mean. They're fairly nice little figures, but not particularly easy to find like this. And you see I've got the blue one and the red one. They're both exactly the same figures, just with sort of different coloured plastic. So this is the blue version, and this sort of transforms into the arm of the giant Acroyer figure. It's pretty nice and very sort of good condition, a little bit dirty, but comes with its little missile launcher and a couple of missiles. And so I picked up both of those. I think they were 2,500 yen each, so not particularly cheap. That works out at about 15-16 pounds, something like that, but still worth having because I like the boxes more than anything. The figures would be relatively easy to get here in the UK, but getting the little box version with all of the artwork on it, not particularly easy. So yeah, the red and the blue version of those. I also picked up a couple of other reissue Acroyers. Now these are different sort of makes of them, so those are from the large giant Acroyer, and then there's these two which are the blue and silver versions. And again, I've been trying to sort of finish off. I've got a vintage version of this silver version, but I just can't get all the parts for it. So I thought I bought this reissue, cost me 800 yen, so it's about £6. This one was also about £6, so not particularly expensive. And I'm going to use all the parts for this to complete my vintage one until I manage to find vintage parts, and I will swap those out. But in the meantime, the parts from these will do just nicely. And I quite like these reissue figures. The boxes look like the vintage ones. There's a little bit of information on them that tells you they're not. You can see there's a new copyright information on the front there that says 1999. So by new I mean sort of within the last 20 years, but they are still reissues. Then I also picked up this, which is Astro Boy. Now these figures are actually from a UFO catcher game, so they're fairly cheaply made. I've shown them before because I picked up a Gatchaman version of one of these. They're made by a company called Ban Presto, again from the I think late 90s. I'm sure there's a date on here somewhere. Oh, there you go. Yes, 1999. And they've done different waves of the figures. But I've been wanting to have a little Astro Boy figure in my collection. I found this in a tiny little shop that's slightly outside Nakano Broadway and up some stairs. And he was 500 yen, so that's sort of about £3.50, something like that. The blister of the case is actually cracked, so I may end up taking this off the card because the figure's quite nice and sort of mildly poseable. And for that sort of price, you can't really go wrong. You know, even if you open it, it's not going to lose any value. It's just a nice little figure to have. And then the final thing I picked up, again, not really sure why I picked this up, mainly because it was so cheap. I don't really collect Godzilla stuff, and the movie is sort of now again from 1998, so this is 20 years old, but it was 300 yen, so it's under £2 for a boxed version of the twin firing battle blaster with Godzilla Force O'Neill. It says it comes with the action figure. I just don't really see Godzilla sort of toys that often, especially here in the UK, and not for that sort of price. So I picked it up because maybe someone wants this, maybe I can do a trade with someone with it, because it is unopened and it's all there. The box is a little bit faded and a little bit tatty, but it just seemed too nice to leave behind, and sometimes that's all that it takes for me to buy an item, just the fact that I think someone else might like that, so I just picked it up. And for the moment it will sit in my collection, but I may trade with that in the future. Now Nakano Broadway is always a fun place to go and sort of hunt for toys. There's so many stalls there and so many little shops. You can spend hours and hours rummaging around. Sometimes you find good things, sometimes you don't. The prices have been going up and up in the last few years all over sort of Japan for sort of vintage toys, and also finding the rarer stuff is getting getting harder to do, but there's still things to find if you sort of hunt and persevere. As you can see here, I've picked up some nice bits, and if you check out some of my other videos of my recent trip to Tokyo, you'll see some of the other items that I've managed to find. And as you can see, I did manage to get some good bits from a whole number of places. So I hope my tour around Nakano Broadway was of interest to you, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching toy-polloi. Subscribe for more great videos. You can also follow toy-polloi on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.